So Moose, go ahead and fill me in on Moose, Chelsea, or and is Kim, you said?
Kim, yeah.
Whoever can go first.
Okay, so I adopted Moose in 2017.
Yeah.
As kind of, I had just recently gone through some stuff and was living alone, and I needed a dog that was already potty trained and that could kind of be a guard dog but wasn't trained as one. And so we adopted Moose from a rescue in southern Wisconsin. And when we saw him, it seemed the story was that he came from a teenager who had him and his sister, but the mom didn't want the kid to have the dogs, so that he just like released them and they were strays for a period of time.
And honestly, I think it's a bunch, excuse my language, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I think it literally was just the story that they put behind the dog for the most part. So really,
we don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea. We got him when he was approximately 8 months old. And when we first met him, he was super skinny. Like right now he weighs about 95
pounds.
And when we got him, he was like 60 pounds. So when we saw him at first, we were like, this dog really needs help. Like even the foster who had had him for 6 months didn't seem like she could really handle him, was taking good care of him.
Yeah. And her boyfriend, who we had met at the meeting Moose and stuff, had let it slip that they were keeping him in the crate for like 8 to 12 hours a day and then letting him out just to like really go to the bathroom and eat. So he like was not being treated well at the actual foster's place either. And they had said that they really had nowhere for him, and that if he was to go back to the actual rescue place, that he would probably end up being put down because of the behavioral issue.
So you have to fast forward probably 2 weeks, because this was the first meeting, and really we went to her house and saw the dog in her element. And then we were supposed to have another meeting at Chel's house where the dog came to see if he was compatible with cats and compatible with the entire family. We had everybody there.
Because they also said on the application that he was human, man, woman, child, animal, and dog friendly, which all of it was pretty much a lie with that.
Yeah, all of it was.
Yeah.
So they walked in with the dog and immediately let go of the leash, to where the dog basically treed the cats. And when I say tree, I mean the cats were climbing the walls.
The ceiling.
He was going after them. And we were just like, what the heck is happening? And within
10 minutes they had left, and
there we were with
Moose. Like didn't even, because I guess they wanted to fill out we filled out forms and stuff previously to like be accepted as an applicant, but when he wasn't supposed to be dropped off that day, and she was supposed to get like my license and like proof that I could handle it and stuff, and I couldn't find my license that day, and she's like, oh no, well it's fine, and just like
they literally
like,
just
dropped the dog and left.
Yeah, and I think that they did that because we have a pit and we have a Rottweiler, and they're really good, well-behaved dogs. And I think that honestly, they just looked at us like, okay, these people have these large bully breeds and can handle it. And it's been like basically a learning experience for all of us and how to handle Moose. And it has been like, we used to kind of be guarded but not super cautious with his behavior. We knew that, not knowing who the dog was, that we had to protect him and protect the people around us until we kind of got a feeling for how the dog was going to be. And I can't say, I mean, would you say it's gotten progressively worse, or do you think that we just have screwed up? Basically,
I think we just know him better, and it's like he's bigger now, and like we can see his like triggers and signs more so than when we first got him. So something that happened at the beginning of his adoption wouldn't have like caught our eye, but something that he does now, we're like, oh no, that's.
And I don't know how much of a conversation you've had with Kim about my conversation with her and his history, the dog's history, but 2 weekends ago, he actually bit our backyard neighbor. And it was, I mean, it was partially the neighbor's fault and partially my husband's fault, who was holding the leash, who in my attitude with the dog is that you never put him in a situation where you know something like that could happen. And the neighbor had a couple of cocktails and came rushing across the lot line to pet the dog, even though I told her several times not to do that.
And he had bit her dog like a year and a half ago or something. So she already knew what we were dealing with him, but came and tried to love on him anyways.
Yeah. And he did break the skin and she refused to go to the doctor, but it was like he nipped her with
the front teeth.
Just the front teeth.
I saw the bite and it honestly looked like a human bite, like the way the bruising was and stuff.
So basically, Moose, in my opinion, in just having him as long as we've had him, he's a zero tolerance kind of guy. He is awesome with us. We can touch him, love on him. To be honest with you, when he bit the neighbor, I basically choked him out and put him on the ground and held him there until he was calm. And then I brought him in the house and I crated him. And he's never turned on any of us, which is really an interesting facet of the dog and the situation itself. But anybody new introduced into the situation is really, really difficult and really, really slow. Mm-hmm. And then also with the cats, it took us probably 6 months to a year to be able to trust him really around the cats. Acclimate him to the cats with slow introductions and with a pinch collar and a leash at all times. And we've done it, but now at this point, he's big, and anyone knew, like, it's a very long, and part of the issue, because I would love to be able to socialize him on my own and stuff, but I don't trust people. And half the time you tell them, no, don't touch him, don't look at him, don't do anything, and they have to get up in his face. And it's like, okay, well, I can't trust you to be around my dog, let alone my dog to be around you right now. So it's been an ordeal. Yeah, it's been a learning curve for us, because when we first got him, I was like, we have to take him to be evaluated. So we took him to Thompson Training in Grays Lake. I don't know if you're familiar with them. And they do all the police dogs in Lake County. And we took him there twice, and not only to try to get him into some formal training, private lessons for obedience, but also to get an evaluation and find out just exactly what they thought about him and how he was and his behavior. And they basically said that they had 4 of him in the back kennels and didn't know what to do with them. And that all we really could do was learn how to control his behavior. And so we were like, well, that's really not going to help us. I mean, we know obedience. He is obedient. He just hates everybody. Yeah. And that's what we really need to work on and again, the attitude is always going to be keep the dog safe from doing something that it could land him euthanized, and to protect everybody else around him. But it's just so hard. And we can't do it on our own. Yeah. Okay. And I left messages with a bunch of different places, and you guys are literally the only ones that returned my phone calls.
Okay. What were the reasons they didn't return? Was it just because of COVID, all the COVID dogs were getting, or?
No, you guys were great.
We didn't get any response. You guys, we don't know.
Yeah, you guys were great. You responded right away. Actually, Elias.
Oh, Elias.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elias, actually, it was a Saturday night at like a 7:30 at night, and he actually answered the phone and he talked me down, and it was amazing. And I was just like, thank you so much.
Like an hour after the bite happened.
He was fabulous. But you guys were the only ones that answered the phone and that called me back to make arrangements. So I totally appreciate you guys.
Of course. And then real quick, what kind of is Moose a German Shepherd?
Oh no, he's a. You want to see him?
Oh,
see if you can see him. Come here, Moose. Come here, buddy.
This is him.
Oh, he's a big guy.
Yeah. Can you sit? Sit down.
Good boy.
And then how old is he right now?
4.5.
4.5.
4.5. Okay, Moose.
Yeah, so now with the whole zero tolerance aspect of this dog, like when we're outside in our backyard in Gurnee which is like all the houses on top of one another. We don't have a fenced in yard. So he's muzzled and he's got a choke and a pinch that we loop together just in case the pinch breaks away, and a leather leash so that with the neighbors, I don't want to be red tagged and have the county called on me. So we're as careful as we possibly can be at this point. And the good thing is that my neighbor actually did admit that it was her fault. Like, she shouldn't have crossed the lot line and come and seen him because of how many times I've told her not to do exactly that, which I'm thankful for. But still, it's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be worried about him and his life and what he could do to somebody else or to a child.
Yeah. And like I trained the Rottweiler and stuff, and I had trained our past dogs. And so like at my house, it's even like closer together in my neighborhood, and everyone in my neighborhood has horrible dogs that most are off leash. So it's like I am on guard with him every second that we're outside of the house. And it's again coming back to not trusting people and how they deal with their own dogs and stuff like that. So we want to make him safe so that existing is easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anything else I should know about Moose?
I don't know. I think we covered it pretty well. I mean, I think we covered it. I mean, really just to emphasize like the duality of who he is, in that he is so great with all of us, but in new introductions is the most difficult thing. And yeah. I mean, that to me just speaks of socialization, but how do we socialize him when he's literally looking to kill whatever he comes in contact with besides us? Yeah.
And we did try to use the electric collar on him, but we've never used it on a dog before. We only use the pinch. And so I think part of it is that we don't know how to use it correctly in training. And then also when we did use it, it was almost like it sent him into his crazy harder. And he because we were trying to introduce him to my sister's dog, which now they're fine. But at the time we had gone to correct him, and it was like he went after her harder, and it was
so
weird.
So we used that. We used the electric collar like twice. And we were too afraid of it having a detrimental effect on him that we stopped, and we just used the pinch, and that's basically it.
Okay.
And a muzzle. And with the vet, we actually have to train him for a day and a half before he goes in.
It's not like full sedation, but it's like anxiety meds that are given every 6 hours the day before the vet visit. Okay. And then he's muzzled the entire time with that too.
Okay.
But I think with that, he's actually been getting better with, because the past 2 vet trips, like the first one, he growled, and it's all fear with him because he'll pee on him and everything.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
But then this past time I took him in April, and he didn't growl at any of them. So I mean,
yeah, it seems
socialization
like
clearly.
With our dogs, when he's with them, he's super bold, tail up, really dominant. But then if he's in any other situation, when he's alone with her, with no other dogs to go off of, he's super, super
timid and scared of everything.
Insecure about everything. And I'm sure that plays a role in it. You know, we just don't know where he came from and what could have caused it.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think
I think we got it now.
I think that's it.
Okay. And then he's only had one bite. Right?
Yes.
And so how's he with the dogs? He's cool with the dogs in the home?
Yeah, he's great with the dogs in the home.
Was it right?
He did bite the same neighbor that he bit like a year and a half ago, and it was a giant American bulldog, so nothing really happened, but her dog was a little aggressive too already with other dogs and stuff, but I mean, that's not an excuse.
No. It was a volatile concoction. Yeah. It was a recipe for disaster. And again, her dog ran into our yard.
Yeah. And actually took my dad out, who was walking him again, and he fell on his head.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's been fine with our dogs and fine with, it takes like with my other daughter's dog, it took
probably, well, it was
4 meetings.
yeah, before he was completely cool with her just coming into the house, no problems whatsoever.
And the way that we had introduced our current dogs to him when we got him was we took them on we took him on walks because it was like a neutral area. There was no territory kind of stuff. So we did walks with both of my parents' dogs in order to get him used to them. And it only took like one introduction to get them together.
And the rod is 120 pounds. So we started with him because he's a big guy and we would know, like, a big guy and he's a male. So 2 males together, we figured if that was going to cause a problem, that would be where it would be. And he did great with both of them.
Okay, good. So when you say like introducing to strangers, are these strangers like coming in the home, or like is it like outside, like on a walk?
Anywhere.
It's literally anywhere. We cannot really even walk him down the street. Any sight of another person, a neighbor coming over. I really wish that the neighbors were outside right now so that you could see kind of what he does.
Moose, get up here.
But he gets full hackles, his hair stands up on end, and he gets really, we call it chuffy. He doesn't actually full on bark. He'll growl and then he just like kind of half barks, he
gets hackles and
yeah,
weird.
He doesn't like climb the doors or the windows, or we wouldn't tolerate that kind of behavior, and we don't tolerate the hackles or the growling at all either. But it's
hard to break him like mentally of what he's freaking out about.
Yeah, once he gets in that zone, it's really hard to stop it.
Okay, and then what else does he bark at on the walks? Is it just humans or is it dogs too?
Dogs too. Yeah.
Okay. Humans and dogs. There's a lot of behavior that those are definitely triggers, but we don't ever let him escalate, I guess is what I should say. Like, and the reason why the neighbor got bit was because my husband had control of the leash and control of the dog, and he always trusts him and is just like, maybe today is the day that Moose can handle meeting somebody new, and he lets him go and do these things, and he just cannot, you can't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So like where we're super cautious and zero tolerance with stuff like that, my husband is like, more forgiving, I guess. Yeah.
Dogs will never wake up one day and think, wow, Mom's put a lot of work in today. I'm going to be a good boy today. It's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I know. And it's just like with people, I tell everybody, I'm like, when people show you who they are, believe them. This guy has shown us who he is. You better believe it.
What else? And then with that American Bulldog, again, came into like, to his territory. And then was it just like a quick snap, or was it like an actual fight, or was it a scuffle?
Oh no, it would have been a fight if we. It was a brawl. It was a full on brawl. And that's another thing about him, is that he has no chill and zero stop.
Yeah.
There is no stop. Like, you have to go and you have to literally pick up the hind legs and you have to pull him out of that. That's really why I like choked him out, was because I'm like,
you can turn him off.
No, you can't. It's really hard to get him to stop.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you've said it yourselves. Strangers coming into the home, he's most likely to have more of more confidence because it's his territory. So like when the dog crosses, he's going to react. The neighbor running up.
Yeah.
Say it again.
No, we're talking to the little pit is. I don't know if she can hear you or what, but she just gave out a little growl. So she was like, "You're gonna have to get her." Okay, go ahead.
Just Territorial. That he's acting all tough because it's his territory. It's his. When someone comes in, he's gonna react, or like sometimes
No.
We can't walk into a home when we're trying to address the territorialness, because like the dog can meet us 20 times outside of the home and be like, cool with us. The one day go to their home, it's like, nope, who are you? You're not supposed to be here. And like you literally can't walk in the door because they're right there, like going at your leg.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm really glad that you said that, because he is definitely resource guarding. When we first got him, he would literally attack the other dogs that would come anywhere near the bowls of food. And we had to stop that.
Yeah.
And also he will guard any little corner of
or cardboard boxes.
Yeah. He'll guard dog food bags. He'll guard underneath tables that he can get underneath where people are sitting. If he like for me, I generally feed the dogs. So when it's close to feeding time, he'll come and he'll guard me. And we always like shut that down and make him go away and sit or lie down, you know, someplace else, go get in your bed kind of stuff. And that's worked, but you know, it's
still there.
Here we are. Yeah, it's still there. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, and he's never like bitten any of our, well, he didn't bite Torque.
No.
He hasn't bitten any of us or any of the dogs when it comes to resource guarding and stuff. He just like gets growly and defensive with it.
Hey, get up here.
He's not listening. He's going off the deck. And we have them all trained to stay on like our decks and stuff at whatever houses we're at.
Yeah. So what are your goals for Moose? What are you trying to, what are your goals for Moose? Like what do you want life to look like in the future if you were to have everything you like with Moose?
I want to be, because I don't think I'll ever trust him, but to be able to not worry about him going after somebody else, and being easier to break him of the chaos of guarding and stuff like that and going after people. And if he could just ignore everyone, that'd be great.
I mean, I think that the reality of the situation is that we need skills. Yeah. We need help because we know how to deal with a well-behaved dog and getting a dog to be obedient and sitting and staying and coming and healing and you know, stopping and standing and stuff like that. But we've never
even with the Rottweilers, like them having a more stubborn personality, like we have dealt with a stubborn dog, but this is different.
I don't think there are going to be any miracle cures for Moose. I think it's basically us having skills, and I think with you guys helping us, I'm hoping that what you guys can bring to the table is some like immersion therapy of exposure to new people in other situations that will kind of like hopefully dumb down his senses a little bit.
And just the socialization, because I think that with the skill set like we have now, socializing him we can't do on our own.
No, you know, taking him to a public situation so that we can kind of try to condition him to a certain surrounding. Like even if we went to, let's say, the parking lot of a PetSmart or something and just walked him around there, it's too scary. You know, he's too wild. And not only that, but the other people around us and the judgment that comes from that, and us not having the skills to handle him as well as we should, you know, with a dog of this nature. So I don't think that there's any miracle that's going to be performed for Moose. It's basically us getting skills and hopefully him being somewhat desensitized or learning some new skills himself that we aren't able to teach him. That would be for me anyways. Yeah.
And then you guys aren't located in Illinois then, right?
Yeah, we are. Hold on. The Rot has a toy and he's crying about it.
He's crying about his toy.
Is that the Roddy house?
Yeah. He cries every night about a certain toy.
This is what he cries about.
He cries about this every time. Should we show him?
Yeah.
Or here, we'll show you.
Get down, bro. There. Can you see him?
Yep. And now he'll cry.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Now you've kind of seen the whole family.
Yeah.
So where are you guys located?
Well, we're in Gurnee. She's in Round Lake. Right now we're in super north Wisconsin.
Yeah. So it's like northern Illinois, like right on the border.
Do you know where Great America is?
I've been there. I can't think off the top of my head where it was.
Okay, well that's literally right where we are.
We're like 45 minutes north of where you guys are.
Okay. Oh, okay. So just you know, being realistic, like we can't make Moose love people.
No.
You know, we can't make him, you know, see someone get all wiggly, right? Sometimes it happens. We have a really good it's not uploaded yet, but there's a dog named Psylocke, and she's she's pretty big. She's a big pitty. And they would walk around her neighborhood and she'd see a dog. It was just dogs. She'd see a dog and she would just scream, like it sounded like a human, just screaming, screeching in the neighborhood, right? I visited her. We worked her through it. You know, after she had the foundation of what e-collar is, right? Then we're like, okay, let's get into it, right? Because she knows what it means. Screaming the whole session. We told her keep practicing what we told her to practice. I think I saw her like 2-3 weeks later, completely different dog. She just she didn't care about any dogs, right? She was still stressed because she doesn't like them, right? She's still stressed, but
yeah,
a big difference. They're very happy. So I'd say, you know, look at our YouTube channel, look for a dog named Psylocke and see how it kind of works, because it's going to be very similar, I feel like. She's not territorial, she's just reactive. So it looks like you have reactivity and territorial and the resource guardian as well. Obedience, like you said, will not fix this, right?
No.
So we have obedience and behavior. So think of obedience as for the humans, like math, science, English, social studies, and then behavior is like don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, you know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't teach someone who's a psychopath like how to do math problems, right? They don't connect, and it wouldn't help his situation. So same thing for Moose here, that sit down, heel, stay place won't fix the don't bite strangers when they come in the door, don't bark at people when they're walking across the street, or, you know, dogs or whatever, you know, they don't connect. So just managing him, like you said, we absolutely can help you with that. The reason why the e-collar would make it intense when you use this, because he didn't have a foundation yet on how e-collar works, right? We need to teach the foundation of like, this is how this is how it feels, this is how it turns off. They're in control of it. They know that we need to make them feel like they know how to turn on, turn off, right? So then when we go into it, if we have a good solid foundation of e-collar, it should be like, okay, don't, you know, disengage, right? Psylocke, even though we created a foundation, she still had issues with obedience and the foundation of the e-collar. So that's probably where she kind of still went intense. So when you press that button, like you guys would, she'd get into it. That's when she would explode. When you press that button, right?
Come here.
So at that moment, e-collar doesn't mean no yet. It means, to her, it's meaning, or to Moose, it's meaning go, right? So we need to make it mean no instead of go, right? Because that's what Moose is feeling. It's like, you know, it's like, you know, that she's seeing something. Is Moose a girl or a boy? I have her.
A boy. It's a boy. Yeah.
Because we have another Moose, a girl. I keep saying girl. So he's, you know, he's like, I'm thinking about it. Then he gets a little feeling. Boom. He's like, I'm gonna do it. Right. It's like a go.
Yeah, it's definitely like a trigger, and he is like that with other things too. Like if he's growling at the back door and I go to touch him to kind of snap him out of it, or to be like leave it, and I touch him, it'll actually make him release that energy, and he'll bark, or, you know, or he'll jump, or, you know, but it actually makes him more explosive when I touch him than make him recoil.
And he's kind of even the same way if he's being good, because we try to use praise to train him and stuff. And even
no treats
if we
like
have him laying down and quiet during a situation, if we say good boy to try to praise the behavior that we do want, he'll take that as I can go do that now immediately. So it's hard to even praise him when he is being good, because he takes off.
Yeah, it's like you're literally giving him permission to be an idiot.
Yeah.
When you tell him he's good.
Yeah, there's these type of dogs that's why we limit energy. We don't give any pets, no verbal praise, nothing. We need to remain calm to keep the situation calm. Because the moment we say something, it's sound. So for example, dogs who live in the suburbs and they move to the city, they're super stressed because the energy, noise is so high, right? And then they're always on edge, like, whoa, it's the energy is too much for me, right? So same thing there, just a little like, oh, good boy, you know, we'll be like, whoa, okay, that's a lot of energy. I'm gonna go back to where I was, right? So with these dogs and in these situations, we try to limit and be more calm in these scenarios, right?
Yeah.
What else? So yeah, I'm assuming, you know, you guys did research on us and how we train, the tools we use, and the methods.
Yeah, I think we already have the pinch collar that you guys recommend.
Oh, the Hermspringer?
Yeah.
So the Hermspringer is a good step forward because it allows you now to correct certain behaviors, right?
And that's the main tool that our training company or
our training experience
has been is every dog we've used a pinch collar of some sort.
It's generally the pinch, then a short tab, a short leather tab, and then a leather leash is usually what we use.
Yeah, and where we were going tops, it was all praise for the training and stuff, so that's just what we were going off of and trying to train him.
We've had a few dogs come from tops to us because they still had issues.
Yeah.
We had a dog called his name is Marshall. He went to tops and he was still a mess, right? First class, brand new dog. The owners were super happy. It was a big change there. But yeah, tops. We get a lot of their dogs as well. But yeah, on collar is good because like I said, you know, for you can correct behaviors, but then the issue is like, you know, if your strongest like leash pop, right, is a 7 out of 10 and Moose is at a 9 or a 10, you're never going to override the brain.
And that's the thing too, is right that there. Like I even taking him in, but before he gained the weight and stuff, trying to correct him, I would come home either cut or have like broken blood vessels in my hands from trying to correct properly so that we could get through to him and stuff. And and that's actually why we got the electric collar, because it's like I can't keep doing this. I can barely use my left hand.
Yeah, but then seeing the kind of getting to know who he was, I was like, we cannot use the e-collar because we have no clue how to use it. And we don't want to make our situation that much worse than it already is by not knowing how to use the tool, you know?
And with his like fear, I think, of people mostly, you move your hands anywhere around him and he's flinching and stuff. So I'm sure that before we got him, he was abused thoroughly because like you would go to grab your glass and not even paying attention to him and he'll flinch if he's laying by you, kind of stuff.
So for the shelter dogs, it's mostly just like on the dog if they were abused. So Jesse's had a dog who was like, I think like shot a few times and like it was really bad, right? But the dog was just happy-go-lucky, right? Dog was happy-go-lucky. There, you know, there'd be loud noises. He didn't care, right? Because that dog's genetics allowed him to recover faster of that situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes dogs don't recover well, or they're just genetically fear, right? It could be just be genetics, and maybe he was never abused, or you know, we don't know for sure what happened, or if anything happened, or if he was just like that, or. But usually we don't look at the past because dogs think now, they think present, they don't think, wow, you know, yesterday was a bad day. It's just like what they're doing now. They don't think future. They don't think like that. It's just what's going on now in the situation. They're very reactive animals. So like if they see something happen, they don't think, they just react. Very reactive animals.
Yeah. And we totally agree with that. And it's just like we're trying to figure out just like why just a little bit by the cues that he does give us. So then because nobody knows. But yeah, you're totally right with the living in the now stuff.
Yeah. So e-collar, brand we use is called Dogtra. Have you guys ever been to a physical therapist? So they have these.
Oh yeah, well, the TENS units.
Yes.
Are you talking about it like a TENS unit?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Same technology. Some contractor on a collar, right? Our brand 127 levels, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 127. Some other collars have maybe 10. So think of 10, the power outage on 10 equal to 127, right? We just have 117 more breaks to be more specific on the situation and the dog's personality and all the little details like that, right? So it's a muscle contractor. If I have it on my hand and I'm going up, 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 you'll start to see my thumb just move like that. Can it get uncomfortable? Yes. The reason why we use e-collar and then why the reason why we use it because the success rate, we always get like, at least 90 to 100% control. Prong collar, like I said, cons is if you're not strong enough to override the brain, and like I said, if you're strong as this number, he's here, you're never going to override it. You're just going to annoy him at that point, right?
Yeah. Well, and he also predicts our behavior. He predicts everything that we do. He knows when he's going to get a correction with the prong collar. So if we aren't on top of him to give that correction, he's not getting it because he's skitching away. And then you have to chase him to catch him to give a correction. And then you've lost the impact of the moment, which is why the e-collar is like essential, but not knowing how to use it is too scary. So that's where you guys come in.
So timing, some trainers really emphasize timing. Like you see it right there. If you miss it, it's too late, which is not true.
Yeah.
For example, Jesse had a board and train back before he had the facility. He had a board and train in his home, and I think he let a dog out to potty in the middle of the night real quick, and then he was like, "Come on, let's go." And the dog was like, "No," and was starting to play the zoomer, like running around game, right? So then Jesse pursued the dog and kept walking, taking his time, chasing the dog. The dog stopped. And then it's called a seizure melodic correction with like the little touch right here. So just did the dog. I was like, oh, and then he put it back inside, right? The next day, and then they're like, you can, timing doesn't matter because the dog stopped. He was like, fine. He still gets corrected because then what can happen is, all right, if he's gonna chase me and I just stop, I don't get corrected. I get pulled in. So then he's gonna keep chasing, right? The next day, did it again. But then it was shorter. He's like, fine, still correcting. And then eventually it was like, come on in. And then he just comes in because he knows I'm going to be tired. This man will keep pursuing me no matter what. It's not worth it, right? So timing and dog behavior training is not that important. A lot of trainers emphasize it. A lot of trainers very push it on clients and, timing. It's not that, there's a lot of space, right? So another con, you don't have the leash on, you can't correct, right? You have no leash. E-collar, as well as prong, they're both physical. So that's why there's some success in both training tools because dogs are physical animals. If a dog wanted to mount or take Moose's toy, right? He's going to let him know, I don't like that. And how do dogs let them know? Through the mouth. That's a physical correction, right? Dogs don't say, hey, please, would you back away from my food? It's just, you're here, I'm going to do this. Like I said, they're very reactive and they just give consequence for actions. So e-collar is physical. It's, like I said, it can get uncomfortable. So how would we would go about this is teaching him the heel command. I know earlier I said obedience does not connect to behavior, right? So why would the walking command, like walk by my side, have an effect on don't bark at these people, right? So the heel, for one, is the command that lets the dog know how each color turns on, how each color turns off, and that he's the one in control of it. He'll never know that you guys are the one pressing the button. He's, dog. We like to say dogs think it's like the universe telling him what to do, right? So it won't affect.
And that's why we were interested in it too, because we wanted to kind of remove us from him figuring out what was right and wrong.
Exactly. So heel, teaching him how to turn, how e-collar works, how it feels. That's not, it's because the first thing dogs think of is like, like I said, go or like move or get away, right? We need people to come to us actually. So once we get a foundation, then we can move on to behavior work, right? E-collar, the reason why we teach heel also is because the way we teach our heel, the walking command is, so heel is walk with me, stay with me, and sit when I stop. If you take 5 steps with Moose, Moose takes 5 steps. If you take 10, he takes 10. If you come to a stop, he's to automatically sit, and this is all done with no words said. It's to create so much caution and worry of where you're going, and that his right shoulder needs to be parallel to your left leg. If it's not, there's going to be a correction. He's going to be so worried about this that he's not even going to care about the other dogs. He's like, I need to be on top of my game because I'll get a correction. Because this is real, right? This is something that's actually touching him. The dog over there is like, it's like a ghost, right? It's not, the dog's not doing anything to them. It's just over there. So are you going to believe the ghost, or are you going to believe something touching you here, right?
Yeah.
So that's the pilots of the like the idea behind like why the heel is so effective, right? So we have to teach them the heel, how to walk, and this is all done again with like a loose leash walk, any environment, you know, all the good stuff. Then we can do a little bit of reactivity, right? So we'll see, because usually heel will knock out a few things like, you know, human reactivity, maybe like bikes and rollerblades. Then it goes calm dogs. Then it goes reactive dogs. Then it goes like you turn the corner, there's a dog. Like that's kind of like the last one, because you can't really predict that, right? So then,
and that's the scariest part for us, is what we can't plan with him.
Exactly. So the heel, let's see what that does for the reactivity. And then if we're still struggling, then we have these other classes to work on the reactivity, right? Since that's all you're really focusing on is like, you know, the reactivity.
I mean, and the training that we've done with him, he is pretty good at the heel, but it'll be nice to have you guys, you know, have somebody else besides us deal with it, because we've kind of, we've met our limitations with him because he's good with us. You know, it's meeting somebody in a real life situation that we have a hard time with, but he will heel and walk and pretty much stay right at your knee. Otherwise there's a correction. So that's, and I love your philosophy about the collar.
Yeah.
And, you know, your training methods.
Yeah. Yeah. We very similar to our physical therapists do it. You know, we don't just like, put him in a situation where like, oh, he's doing something bad, turn it all the way up and blast the dog. That's not how you do it. He needs to know what it means first, right? So physical therapists, you know, they go, I'm going to keep increasing the level slowly. Let me know when you're uncomfortable, and then I'll lower it 2 levels down, and then I'll let the machine do its work. Very similar to our dogs. I don't know what Moose's number is going to be, like the walking number, right? You know, let's say it's a 20, right? It's a 20. Let's say when dogs come, we need to jump to like 80 or like 70, right? To get him to stop. As time goes on, it might not be always 70 or 90. It might start going lower because he's starting to dial down as we go through the program, right?
Sure.
And that could be in general, you know, 20, he could be in, like that in your backyard. If you go on a walk, he's made like a 30. It's always going to be different. It's like whatever he tells you his number is going to be, that's his number. I don't know for that, right?
Yeah.
What else? It's good you're muscle training him. So the reactivity, that's like where the heel comes in. We can see how that happens, how that works after teaching him the heel, and then we can address some reactivity. Once we've gotten the reactivity lower, because we usually like to focus on the reactivity first. Then we go to territorial, or like the territorialness. Which is like guests entering in the home, in the yard, anything like that. And then you said he's cool with cats, right?
Yeah, we trained him to be good with cats already.
Good, yeah. And then I know you said that he already has some sort of foundation with heel, and he's pretty good.
But really just with the 2 of us. Yeah. Like if my dad has the leash, no.
So that's another thing. That's another thing. E-collar is very transferable. So let's say we're doing an in-person, partner number 1 does all the hard work because they're going first, right? They hand off the e-collar and leash to the partner number 2 to do it. They barely do any work, right? When you press the button on 30, it's the same if the dad presses number on 30. There's no like, oh, you know, dad's stronger, so I'm gonna listen to dad, or dad's more softer, so I'm not. You know, there's other things like allowing certain behaviors, right? If he's not going to be as strict, he'll know, okay, with dad I can get away with certain things, but with mom,
yes,
and that's what it is.
That is, yeah, that is a big problem.
Yeah,
with all the dogs, but especially him.
It won't have anything to do with your training, with like your personal relationship with Moose. It's just that's just going to be a deal, and sometimes it's if he's not going, like, you know, it's not worth it if you're going to try and force. You know, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know how to put it into words, but any questions?
No, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I totally get what you're saying, because he learns who he can get away with things with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any questions so far?
No, I'm just interested in what you think is going to be best for him, and, you know, like the type of training, if you want immersion or if you want private lesson prior to immersion or no immersion at all, or what you think.
Immersion, do you mean like exposing him? Or
no, I mean like him going there and staying there with you guys for
the
2 weeks or what have
training.
you.
I'll run through the programs, pros and cons for all of them. So in person, right, is the one-on-one. We would meet somewhere either at Oz Park, the facility, or if we can coordinate some location with you guys, or if I go to you. The only issue that there would be a travel fee for that, and then it'll just be a little more expensive. Or if you wanted to make the trip to Oz Park, because Oz Park, it's a park in the city, is the busiest park in the city. There's baseball games, there's off-leash dogs, there's rollerblades, there's bikes, there's a lot of stuff going on. So that's where we have mostly our sessions, is because if you can train your dog at Oz Park, then you can do anything, really.
Yeah.
One-on-one, trainers don't touch the dog, they don't touch the leash. It's all you guys. It's a verbal instruction. You're doing all the work from scratch. You're learning how to troubleshoot. You're learning how to address his reactivity from the start, and you're learning a lot more, right? No more knowledge. Con takes longer because it's like one topic a week for you guys. And then daycare and train and board and train. Board and train is, standard board train. You drop him off, you leave for a week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week. And then we videotape all his lessons for you, like the first sessions of e-collar, they're videotaped. So you're seeing how he took to the e-collar. I'll be the one who's doing the video, so you'll see how I'm addressing everything like that. What else? Depending on which program you end up choosing, and what we recommend for you, for each program, how long the program should be. You'll get a lot of follow-up time. So after the board and train, you can, like, say you do like a 3-week program. At the end of every week, you can schedule a follow-up so you're more connected with the training, so that it's not all at the end, you get slammed with all this information, right? It's a personal practice. It's however you want to use a follow-up. Some owners don't use a follow-up until like later down the line because they're very happy with whatever the immediate results are there. So if you do 3 weeks, you get 3 1-hour-long videos, teaching them through phases and diving into the reactivity and everything like that. The daycare and train, I don't think you do that. It's dropping them off and then picking them up at the end of the day. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So it's, basically availability for you guys. If you have the time and commitment to meet somewhere, or if you want us to meet you for an hour a week, then it's up to you. If you think that you wanted to do the board and train, seeing how the training works, again, up to you if for availability wise. The only issue would be is if we're going for a training walk, and sometimes we don't have an extra person to record the walks, right? You're not going to be seeing how we're dealing with the reactivity and what happens, right? So that's another con. We'll make videos to instruct you what to do at first when people are passing by, but at the end of the day, it's
you can't catch everything.
Yeah, exactly. A con is that the training is tied to us, but that's what the follow-ups are for. And I already said e-collar is very transferable, so I wouldn't worry too much about when the trainer's here, he listens, but when the trainer leaves, he doesn't listen. That usually doesn't happen. It only happens if, like, you know, the homework that we give you guys isn't practiced correctly. That's when it happens.
Yeah.
So, like I said, personal preference right now, we have a few board trains coming in. So availability for that could be a bit for that. And then in person, I think you'd get on the schedule quicker. But like I said, there could be a trial fee if you want me to go over there or Jesse to go over there. Or if you want to come here, it's a 45-minute drive, I'd assume, right? So around that.
Yeah, about that.
So it's not that, it's up to you guys. Any questions about the programs or how they work or?
No, I mean, I went online and I talked a lot to Kim and to Elias about your training and stuff like that. I really don't have any questions. Basically, I mean, we're definitely going to go with you guys. There's no doubt about it. It's just about, like you said, availability and how quickly we could get him in. I don't know how you feel about, like, what you would prefer. If you want to do a couple of hour trainings and then do the board and train, or if you just want to go cold turkey and do the board and train, and then we get trained also. So how do you have any questions, or how you feel?
I don't have any questions. I'm, like, really open to any option of it and stuff. It's really just availability for all of us, it seems.
Yeah, and then also, I'm just gonna mom you right now, but I'm, like, worried for your safety with this guy.
I mean,
like, how do you take a dog like him who needs to be muzzled and then muzzle him?
So how that would work is usually when the owners leave, the dog acts neutral. So that could happen. It's what's going to be difficult is the handoff here when you're handing the dog to us. So what we've been doing, if we get a dog that's territorial, the owner, or just reactive when the owner's here, we tell the owner to come in, put the dog in a kennel, and then leave. And then we come approach the dog. Dog's like, oh, hey,
nice.
You know, when it's like a totally different dog, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of how it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You can.
Oh yeah, you're good. And if that doesn't happen, we haven't had a dog like that in a while, right? But then it's like, you know, we had a daycare, a dog that was here for an evaluation for daycare. No training tools, just prong and muzzle. And only, like, Jesse could handle this dog. And this was, like, earlier on where no one was really, like, well trained to the point they are now. And it was just for an evaluation. There's no tools. He was always, you know, he was like, you know, he would never use the bathroom, and he would hold it for, like, days. And then one day it all just came out, and then, like, he'd go back on a strike, like, because he was boarding here, he would go back on a strike. Like, food, no water, right? So it's like, you can't make your dog poop, we can't make your dog pee, we can't make your dog eat. It's just on them. New environment, stress. It's very stressful for dogs that they're just dropped off here.
And you know what? For real, that's him.
Yeah,
that's who he is. He does that. He's fine when he's with our dogs.
Yeah.
But as soon as he's alone in a different situation, which is with her, he's a completely different dog. Super neurotic, doesn't want to eat, doesn't want to go to the bathroom. That is him. Yeah. So
I'll ask for, like, you know, Jesse's opinion on, like, how would the board and train work if that were to happen? Because then if that's happening, then it's like it'll be a little more difficult.
I mean, hopefully it's just completely alarmist. Like, that's what we've experienced with him between the two households, and hopefully we're totally wrong. Let's hope we're totally wrong.
And with the vet, when I do take him to the vet, because of their COVID procedures, they have to come out and get him from my car or from me and take him in. And, like, even before we had him on the like, dumbers, I guess, the tranquilizers, he never, like, tried to bite any of the vet techs when the handoff happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, he never, like, lunged or tried to bite anybody or anything like that.
Yeah, like I said, it's most likely territorial, you know, behavior with him.
And the vet even said that when she had him in there, that she thought that part of it was having us in there, and our own stress adds to his stress and stuff with it.
Yeah, he's
so
only
hopefully
bit one person. He's only bit one person.
Yeah.
And the context behind that was person's running towards them and his territory, you know.
Yeah.
So it might you know, that's what I'm saying. Like board and train should work too. You know, it's like I said, it's availability. How you guys want to proceed with that. But after this consultation, I'll send a follow-up email, programs we talked about. So, so let's say we do in person. Let's say you go all in person, right? We have programs. We have like the 6, 9, 12. Think of, so 2 classes for heel, and then 2 classes, you know, recall. If you're not interested in recall, we don't have to teach it, but for us, recall is very important. If the recall is not off leash reliable, it's not a recall, you know. So if you're trying to
we want to do all of it.
Yeah, we want it all.
We want all of it.
Okay, okay. So 2 classes heel, 2 classes recall. The 6th week it wouldn't be that much because you only have 2 classes left to have wiggle room with the reactivity and the territorial. So most likely be either like the 9 week where it's 2 classes heel, 2 classes recall, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 5 classes left. So it can be seeing how the reactivity goes. Let's say it takes 2 classes to really get into it. And then we can do breaks. So it's like, here's what to practice, right? Take a week, 2 weeks off and just practice. So that's what we did with Skylock, right? Because she was like stuck in an area. And then it's like, take a break with coming meeting, you know, sessions and just keep going up on that number, keep drilling it out, keep practicing, keep exposing. She's doing good now. So then they continue with the training sessions, right? Because it's better to have a wiggle room than just like you buying more classes, which will be more expensive because it's not a bundle anymore. It's individual, right? So the 9 week would most likely be your realm. But if you're trying to learn everything, we have the 12 week. So obedience wise, think of 6 week as I walk my dog and I do go to the dog park and I need recall. 9 week is I do all those things, but I go to patios. I like to go to restaurants, outdoor restaurants. I need my dog to stay here and not move. 12 week is I do all of those things and I go off leash hiking and I need emergency commands if he's across the street and I need him to drop down. I need the down right there. And it's a whole bunch of more fancier, like nuanced commands for like long leashes and, you know, really getting mental control of moose, right? Train, you most likely be maybe the 2 week or 3 week area. The 4 week program for board and train, think of the 4 week equal to the 12 week program, right? And then the 2 week and 3 week equal to like the 6 and 9-ish week. The 1 week is just like, if you're just looking for commands on the short leash and everything, which wouldn't be enough for moose because of his behavior.
No.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll send what I would recommend for both in-person and board and train for you guys with the prices. The e-collar we recommend for moose, and you already have your prong. What else? What a payment plan would look like for a program. I would have an example for you guys. And then a agreements thing you would have to sign for like liability stuff and all that good stuff. Once that form is signed, or if you decide to do board and train, once you register your dog to our software, it's called Ginger because you got to turn your vaccinations and everything since they're staying here with us.
Sure.
Begin billing and booking.
Yeah, he has wicked allergies too and takes Apoquel too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know, let us know. Dogs are raw. You know, we have some dogs who are on raw food, so we have fridges, freezers. Dogs who need to take medicines. We do all that good stuff as well here.
Okay. Awesome.
And then anything else? Any other questions?
No. You've been great. Super thorough and like. We're familiar with a lot of what you're saying, and it sounds fabulous. And I'm just happy to find a group that actually is helping breeds like this.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's it's our specialty, right? It's nothing new for us. It's just pit bulls are just intense. You know, if this was a German Shepherd with these exact same human territorial reactive, it'd be a lot less intense, right? It's just the pit bulls are just intense breeds, you know, and you know they love ball. They're intense in ball drive. They're intense in everything they do. Everything in the pit bull is just intensity, right? It's nothing.
Yeah, sure.
That's the only thing that's changing with like a golden retriever who's reactive, territorial, and human, or a resource guard. It's just the intensity. That's all, right? Just a little more work, a little more power, and a little more to bring down the intensity, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then also,
for sure.
Yeah.
Some common questions. Will I have to wear the e-collar the dog's whole life, right? Yes and no. If you're gonna go for a walk, e-collar is going to be on, since we can't predict what's going to happen on this walk. So for example, if we're walking on a busy street, a car crash happens, he's freaking out because if you're seeing a little fear from him, he's probably going to go in flight mode. You got a prong collars break sometimes. Let's say it breaks and he's gone.
Yeah.
Dogs are in flight mode, it's kill or be killed. So you need to override that flight mode, because words, treats are not going to make your dog power and overriding the brain. So that's where e-collar comes in handy. Same thing with fireworks, or if off-leash dog comes to him, you have that control. In the home, if you, like you say, if he's fine in the home and, you know, there's nothing to worry about, and he's an angel, then you don't need the e-collar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
If any questions arise or come up, feel free to email me. That's the same email, the Enrique@canineperspective.com. And I'll answer any questions, but keep an eye out for that follow-up email, which should be sent either tonight, or no, not tonight, most likely tomorrow or the following day. Anything else?
No, nope. We just want to get scheduled, to be honest with you. Get us in there.
Yeah.
I'll let you know, whatever you decide on, I'll give you the availability for that. Like I said, we're piling up on boarding trains because everyone's getting vaccinated. Summer's here. They want to make up I guess, their last summer of staying in. So everyone's going on vacation.
Oh, yeah, and I think a lot of people got dogs in COVID, and then you take them outside and you don't really know how they behave because they've been in lockdown with you. That
too. And people are returning their dogs as well. Like, they're all going back to the shelters now since they can't take care of them anymore. So, that's
it's so sad.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's going on. Anything else or?
No, no, you've been great.
Of course, yeah, thank you. Like I said, keep an eye out for that follow-up email. Any questions, email me. Other than that, it was very nice speaking with you too.
It's nice to meet you.
Of course. So enjoy Wisconsin, right? And, yeah, cool.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.